Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Hanging out here where sports meets life inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, and I'm honored and privileged, as always, to have our special guest inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', and I feel absolutely positively privileged to be able to be joined by Mr. Fred Reed. Fred's joining us here from the Eastern Michigan Eagles, the safeties coach and defensive passing game coordinator, and I'm very excited to have Fred here. He was at Syracuse. I had the opportunity to follow him first when he was with the Syracuse Orange a few years back, and then went on to Eastern Michigan, and as coaches have had somewhat of a carousel, he's been able to have longevity at Eastern Michigan, which is unheard of in the coaching world, which we'll talk about that and what that means and the importance of that as Fred gets set to join us here from the great state of Michigan. Mr. Reed, how are we doing today?
Doing great, Dan. It's really cold here in Michigan, and but the sun is out, so it's a great day.
And Fred, you and I had the opportunity to meet a few years back, and then you went on to Eastern Michigan, and as I said, longevity for a coach is a hard thing to find in any place. What can you say about going back to maybe weighing your options and whatnot? What made Eastern Michigan look like the right place after Syracuse?
Well, it's always difficult when you're going through transition and trying to find the next spot. And I had a friend that worked here and worked for Coach Creighton, Chris Creighton, and he's done a phenomenal job here as our leader. And I got a chance to talk to him on the phone prior to taking the job and just showing interest. And his energy just jumps through the phone, you know what I mean? And his vision in terms of being able to turn the program around and those type of things. And the friend of mine that worked here had a great experience with them, which led to me, really pursuing the job and talking to Coach Creighton about it further. And at that time, they had only won 3 games in 2 years, his first 2 years. And but he was passionate about his vision of building a championship level program and being able to attract the right people because it's about people. For us here, he wants good people and those type of things. And I think our philosophies aligned with that, and being back in the Midwest, I'm from Chicago originally, so that was attractive as well. But it's been great, and we've been able to achieve a lot of things. 4 bowl games in 6 years, and this year having a chance, which we haven't in the past, win 7 early enough where we can push to win 8. It was a great challenge for us, and so we're seeing great progress here, and we're excited about the future.
Yeah, and Fred, you talk about the fact of what you've been able to do as a coaching unit at Eastern Michigan. 4 bowl games in 6 years. You came in 2016. You've been through here to the 2021 season that just wrapped up, and now moving on to 2022. What can you say about the coaching staff? We know that Creighton stuck around. We know that you've stuck around. But how much continuity has been on the staff in this world where you've been to 4 bowl games in 6 years? How much of it has been a staff that has stayed together?
Yeah, I think the core of it has been pretty good. Coach Creighton, obviously, has been here. Our defensive coordinator, Neil Nethery, and myself, we got here at the same time. And so right now, we are from the 16th season, the long-standing guys left. But Coach has done a great job in terms of he's a great people person in terms of trying to find out who fits. And he's done a great job of finding guys to replace coaches who have gone on to better opportunities. To be quite frank with you, they've gone on to great jobs. I mean, Kalen DeWitt was here as the offensive coordinator at 16. He's now the head coach at University of Washington. So we've had some really great people come through here, and very talented coaches, and Coach Creighton has done a great job of keeping us together. And so myself and the defensive coordinator, we are the only ones left in terms of on that staff that's remaining from the 16 season. Our strength coach has been here for all that time, and he just left to go to University of Washington. So I think when you have success and those things like that, opportunities are going to come to coaches that do a good job and they're good people. And we're always excited for guys getting opportunities. And I think just the common thing here in terms of our foundation is our head coach, just in terms of who he is as a human being and as a football coach. And he has a great pulse in our profession to know who are the right people that fit in our program to add some stability to what we got. I think our systems are in place offensively and defensively. You adjust every year, but we're aligned in the same direction that way. So we don't have any issues that way. And I think it helps our players when there is coaching change to be able to, it's a quick adjustment for our players. So that's kind of how we've dealt with the movement. You get that a lot, especially around this time, December and January in our profession, but just that's the way it goes. And I think Coach Creighton has done a great job of keeping the continuity of what we do have intact.
And when you have that, not just to have some continuity, but to have your head coach be the same and Neil Nethery, your defensive coordinator, and then you be one of the defensive coaches, to have that specifically, what has that done for the defense? Because to have you and Neil and Coach, that means that Coach's vision and Neil's vision and then your vision with Neil gets to stay the same and evolve together, but that you're always on the same path here. It's not that Neil is going and saying, okay, I need another safeties guy, I need another defensive passing game coordinator, and Coach, obviously a head coach, the two biggest hires they're ever going to make that have to really do with the longevity of their job are their offensive and defensive coordinators. So when you have Neil and you on the defensive side of the ball, what does that do for Eastern Michigan to protect success?
Yeah, I think that the number one thing is it can always come back to the players and teaching the fundamentals of the game and those types of things. And so that's a high priority here with Coach Creighton, Coach Nethery, and myself. We want to be able to teach the fundamentals of the game and get the players play at the highest level possible. And philosophically, offensively, and defensively, I think the biggest thing I think for our players is they don't have to learn new systems. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of change in all those things across the country, and kids have to learn new systems, and that makes it really, really difficult on a lot of people. When the kids understand the system and know the system, and the coach can coach the fundamentals, it just makes the transition a lot easier for everybody. And so our kids, if we do lose someone on offense or something like that, our system is in place, right? From with Coach Creighton and philosophically what we're doing offensively and what we call things and that things of that nature. If we lose, a coach on defense, for example, Neil and I have been together long enough, with me in the secondary and he's in the front end of things with the linebackers and D-line. It's just an easier adjustment. And our players don't have to adjust if new coaches come in terms of schematics. I mean, we're going to do what we do, and we're going to do it well. And so I think that's probably the common thread there. Just in terms of our players, there's not much change for our players, right? That you get a new coach, you get to experience somebody that has probably individually a little bit different philosophy, in terms of how they want to coach and their approach. But I think the core thing is getting back to people and the type of people Coach Creighton brings in. It just makes it easier for our players in any type of transition. So I think our players don't go to it's not, I'm not going to say it's not a big deal, but I don't think it's something that they stress over once they meet a new coach. So I think the core of having an offensive philosophy and a defensive philosophy that everybody's pulling in the same direction, and you can teach the fundamentals to the guys. And there's not much change for our players. It just makes this time when there is transition a lot easier. So I think that's those are the key things when I look at it, because I always look at it from a player's perspective. And I think sometimes what gets lost, Dan, is that and our thing is everybody looking for the next quick fix. The next coach, the next hot guy, who's hot now, winning and all that.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to win, right? But I think what get lost is that the players, in terms of in those transitions, have to go through a lot in terms of the learning and the stress. In terms of it's already stressful. Those guys work out, from now January all the way to the end of December. I mean, so they put a lot of time and effort into it, and it's just that sometimes I think administratively people don't understand the continuity is really, really important. And then if a team is struggling and so on and so forth, those type of things early on in the first couple of years, you gotta stay the course. And I don't think a lot of administrations these days don't do that. They don't like to stay the course. And I think if they stay the course, I mean, it could have been very easy for Eastern Michigan to let Coach Creighton go after winning 3 games in 2 years. I mean, that's probably an easy thing to do, but they stuck with him, and now he's had great success here, more success than anybody has in the history of the school, any head coach in the history of the school. So, you gotta have patience, and you gotta have a system in place that if you do have other coaching change between assistant coaches changing, that the players are not affected as much, and that they can continue, hit the ground running when the new coach gets in, and so on and so forth, and everybody's pulling in the same direction.
Fred, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the breakdown and the speaking about, what happens when you have continuity versus when you don't. I also want to make mention of the fact that you maybe mistakenly quoted or maybe subconsciously quoted 2 of my favorite songs, where you said something which is along the lines of doing it and doing it and doing it well, which is from LL Cool J. And then you also did the kind of who hot, who not, which is Feel So Good by Mace. So I just want to mention this morning that you got my hip hop feel in early 2022 by accident. I like it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like those references. I didn't think about it, but that's pretty cool.
It's a good way to start. I got Mason LL this morning.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Mason LL, right? You're early. You'll wake you up. That's good.
Yeah, I was like, I know what I'm listening to on the commercial breaks. I know that much. But
no doubt.
So before we jump into anything else, Fred, so for you, I mean, there's Eastern Michigan, there's Central Michigan, there's Western Michigan. You're all in the same division of the MAC. And when we look at the MAC shin, and the west side of the MAC, we have you, Western Michigan, and Central Michigan. Like I said, bring me into these rivalries. I mean, this year you were able to go up against a friend in Tim Lester and defeated Western Michigan 22-21, and then went on to play Central Michigan, lost that game 31-10. What are the rivalries like with the Broncos and the Chippewas when we talk about 3 different Michigan-based teams of Central, Eastern, and Western all playing within the same division of the same conference?
Yeah, no, it's great football, and there are great rivalries. For us, it's a little different because prior to us getting here, the tradition at Eastern was as good in terms of winning, and so I think the rivalry between Western and Central is like is huge, right? I mean, that's in the state, people know about that. And in recent years, since 2016, we've gotten a lot better, and we've been able to compete at a high level against Central and Western. And those have become, some really great contests and, in-state rivalries now. Because, again, it's not a rival, really, unless you're able to win some of those games. Mm-hmm. And I think prior to us getting here, Eastern wasn't winning a fair share of those games. And so, but I tell you what, though, it's great, the excitement, the intensity on both sides. With the coaching staffs and the players, it's a fun time. And all three programs have done a great job and did a great job this season of getting to bowl games and having success in bowl games. And it's been really good, and it's good for us from the Eastern Michigan standpoint to be able to be in a conversation, because prior to 16 we weren't in a conversation really, And so our kids and our administration and coaching staff is just we're proud to represent the Block E and compete against Western and Central on a yearly basis, and it's great. It's great football. It's great football.
For you to have opportunity every single season to see Tim Lester again, what are those moments like? What is that kind of like pregame on the field like? Do you get to spend a couple minutes? Do you razz each other at all? Do you pick each other's brains? What's when Eastern and Western get to play each other, what does it feel like for you and Tim?
Well, first of all, you have friends in the profession, and when you compete against them, I personally, I'm not a big fan of competing against guys that I know. You know what I mean? It's just because we're all scrapping and competing hard and all those type of things. I prefer just to cheer for them, root for them, and not play against them. But it's a unique situation with Tim and I, because of our relationship back at Syracuse and both being from Chicagoland area and all those things there. So, usually the pregame is pretty lax, and it gives us a chance to catch up, and we always catch up, talk about what's going on with the Bulls. And I'm a White Sox guy, he's a Cubs guy, you know what I mean? So, we talk about little things like that. Not so much football, but things, just what's going on with our families and things of that nature. So, he's a great guy, and I value our friendship and those things. And but when it comes down to strapping it on and playing against each other, once those conversations are over, we're both trying to take each other out. So, so it's all good though. But I enjoy it, and like I said, he's a great guy, and we run into each other from time to time on the road in the summer, and it's always good to catch up.
That coming here this morning from Fred Reed, a safeties coach and defensive pass game coordinator of the Eastern Michigan Eagles. Been with Eastern Michigan for 2016 through now, and is moving on here into the 2022 season, recruiting as we head toward the second part of National Signing Day, which is coming up in February. Fred, for me to understand this, because I see it on some lists and you don't see it everywhere on coaching staffs, defensive pass game coordinator, what does that mean in your words?
Well, it's something that I take great pride in. Obviously, we have a defense coordinator, that's Neil Nethery, and so he runs the defense and calls the defenses and things of that nature. What we've done over the years and been together is I've taken a little bit more of a load off of him in terms of the pass game. Something I enjoy doing, and it just gives me a little bit more say in terms of what we're doing from a pass game standpoint. And that's been great for me, rewarding in terms of being able to be a little bit more involved with what we're doing, game plan wise, and some schematic things as well. So I think I've been a coordinator and I've done that, and so to be involved a little bit more as an assistant coach is I appreciate having the opportunity to do that, and what it entails is just those things in terms of game planning and preparation and some schematic things on a weekly and yearly basis.
Makes sense. So to have a piece of that and to help out, like you said, the defensive coordinator, as your role has evolved at Eastern Michigan, how have you seen yourself evolve? And then secondly, why do you love the secondary so much? Why is that something that energizes you?
Well, just being here, I think that being here at Eastern, and Neil is a good friend, and Chris Creighton is a good friend as well. Just being with them and getting to know their families and those type of things. And, it's been awesome. And we've recruited some really good kids. And just love the young men that we have in the program. And I've been able to be here long enough to see kids come through and go through the program as freshmen and redshirt or and graduate, you know what I mean, in 5 years, some guys in 4. That's been really, really rewarding. And then being able to have our guys walk around with pride on campus with a blocky on their chest. There were some guys when we first got here that didn't have that opportunity to walk around with pride, with a blocky on their chest, you know what I mean? And they were chastised and things of that nature. But things have changed, and so I'm proud to be a part of a program that supported, got great support from my administration, and have a head coach with great energy and passion. So I'm excited every day that I wake up to be able to represent Eastern Michigan University, and the players that we have here. What was the second part of that?
Just what energizes you about the secondary specifically, why you love it?
Yeah, secondary play. It's just, I played DB, played free safety, and so that part of it. And I've always been, I was never growing up, Dan, I really, I envy Tim Lester. Tim Lester was a quarterback. And growing up, I wanted to be a quarterback, but I didn't have any type of arm strength. I couldn't play the position, but I always wanted to play that position growing up, and end up in high school being a linebacker. And that was the next best thing, to be able to call plays. Got to college and end up being a safety and being a leader in the secondary, be able to make coverage adjustments. So I've been able to. Starting from what I wanted to do, and then when I played basketball growing up, I wanted to be the guy to be the point guard, tight. You know what I mean? Someone that gets set the table and to see things on the floor and pass it to the open guy and those type of things. Pass it to the guy that that's going to pass it to the next open guy, whatever the case may be. Be the quarterback of the defense as a linebacker. Be the quarterback of the defense as a free safety. So my passion stems from growing up wanting to be the quarterback of whatever I was playing at that time. And so that's, kind of as I've grown and got into the coaching profession and those things there, I've always wanted to be a secondary guy. I coached linebackers for a while, and I never see myself coaching D-line or, I coached receivers for a moment, but offensively, the only position I would ever want to coach would be quarterbacks. I mean, I want to be involved in terms of the entire game, from the run game, the pass game. I want to be involved in that. And I think as a DB, you're involved in the run game, you're involved in the pass game. So that's why I'm passionate about it from my youth going all the way up through to where I am now. And the kids that you coach some of the highest skilled kids in football. When you coach in the corners, receivers get a lot of publicity, those type of things. But that corner position is probably the hardest position, I think, in playing football in terms of the skill level that's required to play it at a high level, especially nowadays with the rules that you have. You barely can even touch a guy. You know what I mean? So you got to have a high-skilled guy in that position. And, and then in the safety position, just to be able to be high-skilled, but also be a guy that has some physicality and range and be able to have instincts and things of that nature. So all those things are why I'm passionate about secondary play. And all that stuff started when I was, a youth. I wanted to be a quarterback of the defense, quarterback of the offense, and so on and so forth.
That coming here from Fred Reed here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and much appreciation. I'm picturing Fred Reed going up against Tim Lester on the field. Like, I'm just seeing, can you figure him out? Can you key on him when he was a quarterback? Like, I'm just trying to. I'm trying to
don't
see
know.
that.
He was really good. He was really good. He was really good. I mean, I don't know, man. I tell you what, we probably throw some disguise coverages at him and maybe try to confuse him or something. I don't know. He was really good. So I don't know.
And, we look at this, though, and you're speaking about being good here. You talk about how Eastern Michigan, in order for it to be a rivalry with Central and Western, you got to win games. Eastern Michigan's been around for 47 seasons in football. MAC for all of those seasons except for their first, which was independent in 75. From 75 to 2013, for that long stretch of decade upon decade, there was only 6 winning seasons. Chris Creighton has 3 winning seasons out of the last 6 years. So just what you could say about that. A team that from 75 to 2013, pre-Chris Creighton, and you being on the staff and Neil and whatnot, this was a program that only had 6 winning seasons from 75 to 2013. Now you're halfway there with 3 winning seasons from 2016 to 2021. Just what that says about where Eastern Michigan football is.
Yeah, no, it's come a long way. And, and if we can, win a bowl game, here or there, a bit more. You know what I'm saying? In that 6-year period. So, but it just shows you in terms of where we are and what's been built here, and we're going to continue to try to strive and add to it. And I think we're going in the right direction. The type of kids that we're recruiting here, and the coaching staff that we have. The administrative support, all that works in concert with each other to get us to have the success that we've had in this last 6 years, and we're going to continue to build on that moving forward.
That coming here from the defensive pass game coordinator and safeties coach Fred Reed of Eastern Michigan, who was at Syracuse when we met one another and has moved on to Eastern Michigan with the Eagles to take on the rest of the MAC. You got to go to a bowl game this season, albeit not the way that you wanted it to end. I know you talked about winning a bowl game and how important that would be to this team. To give a little history here, folks, we look at the fact there was only one bowl game ever pre-Chris Creighton for Eastern Michigan, and that was the California Bowl, and that was back in 87, and they won the game back in 87, the Eastern Michigan Eagles did. And since then, we have the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl, the Camellia Bowl, the Quick Lane Bowl, and the Lending Tree Bowl. Lending Tree most recently. So the team has only been to 5 bowl games in 47 years. You're a part of 4 of those 5 games, Fred. I know you're a humble guy. I know you give credit to Chris, but you're a part of this team that's advanced to bowl season 4 times here very recently. What can you tell me about what you take away from, despite there being a loss against Liberty, what do you take away from bowl season and the importance of advancing to a bowl game?
Yeah, I think, our kids work really hard all year round. The coaching staffs work really, really, really hard in terms of preparing the guys, our support staffs. So everybody involved worked really hard. So the reward to working hard is the opportunity to go to a bowl game, And so everybody puts in a tremendous amount of work and sacrifice to be in a position where you can go to a bowl game. So it's like all hands on deck. We all work tremendously hard, and it starts now in January for the new group, and we'll work hard to get back to a bowl next season. Ideally, you want a chance to win your division and a chance to play for a MAC championship, and then the next thing would be able to go to a bowl game and compete and win that bowl game. So that's really important, and I think we at this point have developed a tradition here that's and everything is trending in the right direction where we're going to be a perennial bowl program. That's something that our kids are going to work tremendously hard, and our staff will as well, and the support staff, and that's always our goal to get there and Now our biggest challenge is to win one. We haven't won one yet, and that's a big challenge to be able to compete at a high level, to be able to win it. In terms of just the importance of getting to a bowl, it really helps you develop your young players, and it gives us a chance to get extra practices in where we're not necessarily game planning, but we actually, it's almost like an additional spring ball, if you will, where we compete against our offense and get some of the young guys going. And you can continue to evaluate some of the freshmen and redshirt freshmen that you recruited, and it gives you a great chance to give them another opportunity to play fast in practice, because during the course of the year, it's very hard if you're not playing those guys and they're not in the two deep, or they're not in the rotation from a special team standpoint. You don't get a chance to spend a ton of time with them outside of a short individual. So I think it's huge for those guys. We have, for example, two young safeties that we think are going to be really good players coming out of camp this past August, and they played some special teams and played in 3 or 4 games and end up redshirting, and then in December during the practices they showed that they are going to be guys that they are who we thought they were, and so we're looking forward to spring ball, the off-season training program, and getting to spring ball so those guys can continue to develop. So it's really, really important in terms of developing your young players, the extra practices that you get.
That coming here from Fred Reed on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora this morning inside the Cafe Kubal studios. Fred, in closing here, just, looking back on everything that's gone on, I mean, you spoke on Chris Creighton and him staying with this team and staying loyal to this team, seeing things through. Some people are surprised. He said that, for him, he said, I've been here for 8 years. This is home. I'm in love with this program and all the people in it. And so, I mean, big words toward you, toward Neil, toward those that are on staff in general, and just what that means to you in the coaching carousel that we live in today, and in this, constantly, coaches getting poached and getting spoken to throughout the season, after the season, before the season. To know that Chris wants to be a part of this, to know that he wants to be with Eastern Michigan, just what that means to you, that you have a leader who has stayed true to this and seemingly hasn't really even fielded too much as far as when somebody maybe wants to talk to him. It sounds like this is not something he's going after. He'd rather just focus on where he is right now and what he's doing.
Yeah, I think, we just moved into a new facility, 2 years now. And he really worked along with our athletic director really hard to get that done. And that basically started from scratch. I mean, they knocked down a small building we had before and built this huge complex that houses our football team, and it's unbelievable. And now it puts us on par with everybody else in our conference. And I think there are still other things that he wants to accomplish here in terms of moving the program forward, and I think he's 100% committed to doing it. And if anybody can do it, he's going to be the guy that's going to do it. And he's tremendously focused on having Eastern Michigan be like, he always said this in recruiting, like the greatest experience in our players' lives. Like when they come and they go through 4 to 5 years here, it's the greatest experience of their lives. I mean, he takes those guys as seniors to Pikes Peak out in Colorado as a senior trip for leadership, and he really bleeds green, and it's in his DNA at this point. You know what I mean? And I think he still sees that there's a lot to be done here. And he's continuing to work and find ways to get us to a point where we can hoist a MAC championship trophy. And I think that's his number one focus. I don't think he thinks about anything else. And he has the energy level, the passion. I mean, he can when he speaks. Man, like if he stops coaching, I mean, he can probably be a motivational speaker. I mean, that's how good he is in terms of that, and he means every word he says. I mean, he's a really passionate guy, and everything he says comes from the heart. And I love that about him. And that's what's kept me here and working on this staff, because he's an unbelievable person. And if that day comes, some university would be really, 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 really lucky to have him. I'm telling you. He's great, but I hope that for the way his mindset is, I hope that we stay here and we're able to be perennial perennial MAC champions. You know what I mean, and do things that teams have done in this conference that have won multiple MAC championships. So so anyway, that's how I feel about what we're doing and what Coach Creighton has done here, and we look forward to starting off here in a week when our guys get back and hit the ground running.
For you, Fred, when you said your goal is to win a MAC championship and then to be perennial contenders in the MAC, what does it say about the MAC that it's so hard to get to the championship game, let alone win 2 in a row? It's like every single year it's a different team. Northern Illinois, look at what they've done and how they were able to finish off their season. I mean, what can you say about the MAC, the fact that whoever the champion is, this isn't talking about like Alabama in the SEC or Clemson typically in the ACC or Ohio State in the Big Ten or Oklahoma in the Big 12. When it comes to the MAC, it's seemingly an ever-changing opportunity that really, I would think, goes to show just how competitive the MAC is, that we're not seeing the same team twice hoist a trophy.
Yeah, I think the thing is, I think the players, there's some really good players in this league, and a lot of these players have a chip on their shoulder because they feel like they should be playing at the highest level of what we call Power 5. A lot of those guys have a chip on their shoulder about that. So I think there's some unbelievable players. The second thing is, I think that there's some really good coaches, really good head coaches that have hired good staffs, and it's a flat-out battle every week. You line up, man, and so I think it's not one of those deals where you can just go in and show up. I mean, you better come with your A game, or you're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to win the game. So I think it's a combination of the players in the league and the coaches. There's some really good coaches in this league, and I think it makes it super, super competitive. And I think people on the outside really probably don't know that. I think you have to be on the inside or be involved with it on a weekly basis to understand the depth of it.
And in closing here, Fred, for name, image, and likeness in the transfer portal, how do you navigate this? How have you navigated this now that we've gone a season with name, image, and likeness? How involved, are you or is this staff in discussing it with players and being a part of that? And then when it comes to the transfer portal, as you're out there recruiting, what is the plan for Eastern Michigan, so to speak? Is this an active portal school? Is this a school saying, hey, we still want to build through prep schools and high schools and go to the portal if we need to? So how did you attack name, image, and likeness? I know it's two big topics, but how did you attack one of them? Basically tell me these two very big topics that have more questions than answers in the next 2 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. But
yeah, like the NIL is something that I think every school is trying to wrap their arms around. But it really comes down to outside people in the community that want to be able to have one of the players or several players or what have you represent their company or the business or what have you. And I think it's great for the players and those things. We've done some things with our athletic administration in terms of educating the guys on the NIL, but it's uncharted territory, and I think people are still trying to wrap their arms around it and trying to figure it out. And I think it's going to be that way for the near future, I would think. But I'm, just in terms of how I feel about it, I think it's great for the players. I think if a player has an opportunity to make some money off of his name, image, and likeness, more power to him. And if they're able to do it, and it's also not just football. Obviously, I'm speaking for football, but it's the Olympic sports too. I mean, more power to them. We got one of the best track programs in the country, and for our female student athletes who have really competed at a high level, for them to be able to cash in on the NIL, I think that's awesome. And so. But we do try to do a job. Our administration do a good job in terms of educating them. In terms of the portal, we're a developmental program. That's who we are. Unless Coach calls a meeting tomorrow and says we're not, we're a developmental program, and so we always going to recruit the high school kids and try to develop them. And then need based. I think everybody has to look at you have to at this point. Look at the portal just to see, because the reason why we have to, because again, you're going to lose guys too. So you're not going to, just the way that's the nature of this thing, what it's become. And so you just got to look in terms of need base. And that's how we are looking at it. We'll develop a program and then use the portal to be able to look at it similar to how we've looked at in the past at junior college programs, being able to recruit guys based on need. And whatever needs you have, just say, okay, we have a need at this position or that. We want to really look through the portal and junior college ranks to find someone that can come in to fit into those needed areas. That's at EMU. Some people do it differently. There are some that are really programs that are really hitting that portal really, really hard. But I think that's part of the reason people are hitting it really hard. I think it's some of it is the climate of the win now, and guys are not getting, I say guys, head coaches are getting 2-3 years to get things done. It's really difficult to do that, really, in football. You may be able to do it in others, maybe basketball or something, I don't know, but football is very difficult in terms of the numbers to be able to get it turned around that quickly. But I think that's where some people are putting their focus. But we're a developmental program. We like to get guys in the program and develop them and get them to play at a high level and have them in the program for 4 to 5 years and go from there with it. That's been what Coach Creighton has preached since I've been here.
Yeah, coming from Fred Reed here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Joe Adams coming up next. So, Fred, any words about Joe Adams as we get set to bring him in right after you?
No, that's my man. I know he's recruiting really hard, trying to, continue to build his program. And just an awesome guy, great friend. And I wish him nothing but the best in terms of recruiting. I've always run into him in the summer, and it was just like, it's so great. That's one of the great things about our profession in terms of recruiting. You're able to run into guys. And I'm able to run into Joe in the summer a lot of times in Chicago recruiting, so it's kind of cool. But I'm excited for him. I'm excited for where he's going with his program and those things. It's an exciting time for him. And I know he's passionate about what he's doing, and I know he'll get it done at a high level.
Who has a better cigar game? I asked DeAndre between him and Joe, and DeAndre actually deferred to Joe. So who would you say?
Wow, man, I gotta go with Joe because DeAndre, I know he's into his cigars, but I can't recall DeAndre and I having a cigar together. Joe and I have So I got to give it the cigar game to Joe. I'm going to go with Joe. And so he's posted a few things. So, yeah, he's posted a few things that I've seen. So I would go with Joe.
All right. Fair enough. We know DeAndre's the best dressed. We know that's not
without question. No question.
So that coming from Fred Reed, Eastern Michigan Eagles, inside of the MAC, going into yet another season for him, 2016 all the way through to now, and being a part of this team making multiple bowl games and having a bunch of winning seasons, 3 in the last 6 years. So being a part of the best part of history of Eastern Michigan says a lot about you, Fred, and a lot about Chris Creighton and Neil Nethery and the staff. So congrats to you. I know there's ever onward, ever upward, flying higher for the Eagles, but thank you for spending some time on today's show. Happy New Year, and thank you for being a part of the first week of Wake Up Call here in 2022.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you. And Happy New Year to you as well.
All right, man. I'll talk with you soon.
All right. Take care.
Take care.